Cambodia, Suzerdai. Good afternoon from Danang, Vietnam. And like one of my million viewers pointed out, everywhere you go in Danang is construction. For me, it's interesting. They tend to quit before dark, so it's not really too much annoyance. But the methods are interesting, and how they build forms on the spot. And you can see a little tripod and a little pulley down the ground is a little plug-in electric winch and a big electric cement mixer. So I'm guessing they haul 5-gallon buckets up in that or whatever else. Pretty interesting. But anyway, progress report. Finished up at the dental. And I'll give a good recommendation to Serenity International Dental. And I saw 2 different dentists there and did a root canal, which is a first-time experience for me. It was a little intense, probably over 8 hours, and mainly 3 visits for the actual root canal, and then about, I think I had cleaning, exam, root canal, and a lifetime warranty crown of the finest material. It matches my other teeth, except the gold one. Matches perfectly. Anything goes wrong, they'll replace it. So that's all good news. Good to have that over after being reclined in the chair for more than 8 hours. So what's happening in Danang? Pretty much construction wherever you go. And I'll talk a bit about medical. I have had medical services in Thailand and Cambodia. I've been in small hospitals in both. One was a bit nightmarish when you're in a ward with 6 patients and one of them has a zipper cut around their head and they don't seem to be talking anymore. And then I looked around town and noticed a few more people with the same kind of peel off and open the skull. So there's some surgeon there. This is in Isan. I won't get too specific. Where was that? Oh, maybe I'll get a little specific. In Yasatan, almost no one there spoke English, so that was difficult. I was there for about a week, and the bill was not excessive, but the first 5 days were in a, I think 6 or 8 person ward. Then finally they gave me a private room, which was all pretty cheap, but I mean, I think I ended up spending about $1,000 and had MRI and a bunch of other stuff. But let me tell you about typical Asian medical practice in pretty much throughout Asia, from the Philippines. I'm assuming it'll be about the same in Vietnam. Probably Vietnam has higher quality doctors, better training, although the physician I saw in Siem Reap was trained in Vietnam. But first of all, it is my opinion, I'm not a licensed medical professional, but after the number of weeks I have witnessed hospitals and medical staff, and being a caregiver, and being in the hospital a couple times myself, and working in a surgery center, I have seen open abdomen surgeries and serviced some of the electronic equipment. So I've dressed up like a doctor before, but the typical thing in Asia is they over-prescribe everything. And I was in there for an infection and for dengue fever in Siem Reap, Cambodia. I was not dehydrated. I didn't have any other problems. What do they want to do right away? Of course, I went there initially knowing I needed antibiotic. First of all, they gave me the wrong antibiotic, and the next day I went back. They want to check me every day. It ran up a $400 or $500 bill. They like to play doctor and give you IVs, whether you need it or not. Nye was also in the hospital briefly. They wanted to observe her. Really minor stuff. She was not dehydrated. Give her an IV. But the biggest thing from the Philippines, probably all through Asia, is they over-prescribe antibiotics, whether you need it or not. And probably most any pharmacy, you can walk in and buy antibiotics. And if you get the wrong kind, you have other medical conditions that can be game over or damage kidneys, liver, whatever is your weakness. So you have to watch out for that, and I suggest you, unless you're in bad condition or have had an accident, unless you really need to be hospitalized, you should just tell them no thank you. And unless you're dehydrated, then I would suggest the same thing, because once they get control of you, it's kind of hard to get out the door when you owe them money. So you should have some reserve money just in case, or you, better yet, should have medical insurance, which I don't. How is the care? I'd say it varies extremely from hospital to hospital, and in Bangkok, I can't remember the names. There is one larger hospital. They do a lot of foreigner stuff, but the reviews, like Google reviews, you can just see really excellent, or they ripped them off bad, and the people would never go back there. There isn't that much variable. So the really excellent reviews, I'm skeptical if they are valid or even real. Of course, every situation or every illness could be different. However, you have to use some common sense. And you don't just throw your life and your health into the hands of a so-called professional. I've experienced malpractice in the U.S. a couple of times. In fact, anytime I've had surgery, I had friends that were doctors. I had friends that were like highly experienced nurses, 20 years on the job. And they just shook their head when they heard what the outcome was. So, malpractice can certainly happen in any country. But I would say generally, some of the things you need the most, they're going to overlook. They did spent a lot of time giving me an explanation about my lab tests, and all I wanted were the lab tests and some antibiotics, as I knew what was wrong, except I didn't know I had dengue fever. So he spent like an hour explaining lab tests and stuff that really wasn't even relevant. So I think that was to justify the $400, $500 bill. What else can I say? Generally, I'd say the care is fair, but it really depends on your problem and which hospital you happen to choose. Or in an emergency, you probably don't have many choices. Or in a small town, they might ship you off to another town. We had a relative that was sent from Cambodia to Vietnam because they felt the care was better. I think probably that's true. Generally, things in Vietnam are a little more advanced, a little more modern, and going back to my dental experience, I definitely recommend Serenity International Dental. And that's because they are younger dentists that have a few years, maybe 4 or 5 years experience, and it's all state-of-the-art equipment, pretty advanced, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's nice when you have 4 to 6 hands working on you and just like boom, boom, super fast. Small hands can get in there. I don't have really any complaints. I think they did a great job. The crown is the highest quality without going for gold, literally. And she made the fit perfect. So there's no highs, lows, front to rear. Tension is just right. So yeah, I would recommend them, and if I have any other problems, I would probably come back here rather than staying in Cambodia as far as the dentist goes. Other than that, just hanging out in Danang, getting ready to cruise around. We had the scooter rental. I think I posted a video on that one. Worked out fine, no problems. I think the scooter actually had the rear wheel bearing was about to go out, and I know everything about bikes as soon as I get on and ride it for a couple of miles. But nothing failed on it. We returned it after 3 days. I think, what was it, 360,000. So that's like $5 or $6 a day, super cheap. They did hold on to my driver's license, as I pointed out in the other one, which is preferable for me rather than giving them my passport. So that all worked out good, and just kind of resting up after a little bit of stress at the dental. It wasn't bad, but you know, when you're sitting in a chair for an hour, it kind of wears you out. But there's, I will say, there's a lot of different choices in Danang as far as Western food, some very good Italian food just right around the corner here. And we even ate lunch at a vegetarian restaurant that was pretty darn good. Prices usually the two of us could eat for anywhere from $4 up to on up, but a lot of times we're eating for $5, $6 for a pretty complete meal. And I can't remember the Italian restaurant, but if we go there again, I do recommend it. The guy is Italian. I've been in 2 different Italian restaurants with Italian owner. I think the other one was a bit more expensive. The pizza was great, and what else did we have? Pizza and she's not talking. She does not want to be in this video. What do we have? We had chocolate gelato.
Yes.
It was really good. A little expensive, like $1 something a scoop, but that was really good quality. And the pizza. Oh, and we had one Belgian beer. That was quite good. So, yeah, good food is there to be found. There's a lot of darn tourists around here. We went to Hoi An. It's like 30-minute motorbike ride. And I was kind of shocked how many tourists there. And I actually talked to one. It was actually friendly, as opposed to in Danang, you say hello and they just look blankly and keep walking. There's some weird cats in Bangkok, or weird tourists in general. Anyway, that's about it for now. I'll show a second of the construction going on here. I think it's 3 stories. They're going for 4 or 5. And everyone's friendly. We were walking by some place there, and but yeah, they're just walking around up there wearing flip-flops. And where's OSHA, man? Walking by one place the other evening, and the guys were out having a little powwow, apparently having a smoke. And so I waved and said something about Bob Marley. So they come running over and smiling and offer me a bong hit. Mind you, nothing illegal there. No, it was actually tobacco. I don't smoke tobacco. So, like and subscribe and share and all that good sort of thing. And the best to you for a happy 2020 New Year's. And if you're into motorcycles, you got to look at the biggest, and in my opinion, the best thing out there, redesigned 2020 Triumph Rocket 3. It is the coolest thing on 2 wheels, I think. All right, bye for now.